Why are we not exercising? Is diet on its own sufficient to resolve your issues? A meta-analysis published in the diabetes, people who eat plant have 23% lower risk of developing diabetes. American Heart Association also found that significantly lower risk of cardiovascular disease. This Vesanto Melina.
Essential amino acids actually come from plants. The red meats, it turning out, are probable carcinogens.
Well, we're going to be starting a very interesting program today. And I'm your host, Dr. Amir Khan. Let me say this first of all. Today we have a unique show. And the show is unique in a way because not only do we have a guest, but we have our audience in attendance here. And the attendance is of all of you people being there. So I'm really looking forward to what not only our guest today is going to be talking about, but also getting feedback from all of you who are in attendance. I think the question right now is twofold for the audience. Number one, why are we not exercising enough, I would say? You guys, in general, I know, why is there not enough people exercising? And then the second question is diet on its own sufficient to resolve your issues? And that's where I want you to be all participating in. We'll be going into a sort of specific topic afterwards, and this is about diet, which is plant-based diet, and the importance of the plant-based diet. Why is it important? Or is it important? Is it enough to give us everything that we need? Just plants, no meat. The guest that I have today is going to be speaking to an audience that is primarily all carnivorous diets. So it's going to be an interesting discussion. So I am looking forward to what you guys have to say. But let me start off by saying, first of all, this. All of you know what are the essential macros that are required. What are the essential macros that are needed in a diet? Protein, carbohydrates, fats, and others. And as you know, carbohydrates shape up to about 60% of the diet. Carbs, all carbs, they shape up almost 60% of the diet. The remaining 20% is fat, and then the remaining 30% approximately is also carbohydrate, also protein. So what is the fuss about? Yes, you need minerals. Yes, you need other vitamins. Yes, you do need everything. But what is this fuss about proteins lately? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. The landscape of the diet, and especially from dietitians' perspective, is that if you eat enough protein, you can compensate your carbohydrates and a portion of the fats as well. So that being said, we are now saying that carbohydrates try to completely eliminate from your diet. And if you can do that, we've seen benefit that is tremendous. So have you guys thought about what's on your plate? Is it good food? Is it bad food? And why are we not getting better if it is good food? Why do we are still having a lot of diabetes, heart disease, and why are you not living long enough? Well, some of you may say, okay, I'm young, I don't need to exercise. Well, that's fine. I can control it with diet. And a lot of people who are on diet will argue that I have diet and that is enough. I can tell you in your diet, if there's one component that is more important than everything else right now, that is your protein nutrient. It gives you energy. It helps you cut your carbs. But more importantly, it helps you also feel full. So your strategy generally is that you will eat less. Also, it will give you more energy. Well, it will give you energy. Probably fat gives you more energy, but it gives you equal energy to carbohydrates. So I want you to remember that. So while meat has long been the lonely source or the major source of protein, the push for protein, animal protein, which is considered to be the pivotal and more important thing, has some problems with it as well. And that's what we're going to be discussing with our guest today. Does it come with problems? That's what we're going to find out. So the diet trend has changed a little bit for all of you. A meta-analysis published in the Diabetes Care Journal found that plant-based protein or plant-based eating patterns, people who eat plants, have 23% lower risk of developing diabetes. Okay, another study in the American Heart Association also found that plant-based diet is significantly lower risk of cardiovascular disease, and also something that we use very fondly that is called mortality, which means death. Plant-based, again. What about another very prestigious journal? It's called the JAMA, Internal Medicine Journal. It actually showed that replacing animal protein over plant protein tied to lower overall mortality as well. And this is very shocking. Welcome to another episode. This is Khan Clinics. As you know, I'm Dr. Khan, and I really want to discuss this in sync with our discussion here. I have the distinct honor of having Miss Vesanto Melina here in the studio with me. Miss Vesanto, welcome to the show to help us guide through the topic of plant protein.
Thanks, Dr. Khan. Good questions and topics. Yes.
Absolutely. Before I go on to discuss this, the book here is called Plant Powered Protein. And then there is a couple of other books that she's wrote. One is on Food Allergy Survival Guide. And Miss Vesanto, do you want to show your book as well? That's specifically on
Another one,
diabetes.
Kick Diabetes Cookbook. Yeah.
Kick Diabetes Cookbook as well. Let's start off with the first question. And a lot of people already have been asking me this question. Can protein from non-meat source be enough for you?
Yes. Well, it definitely can. And in fact, all the amino acids that we require, the essential amino acids, actually come from plants. If you think about the animals like cows, but also gorillas and very well-muscled animals, many of them, deer and hippopotamus and gorillas and just all sorts of animals, just plants, and they grow strong muscles. But it turns out that every amino acid is present in every plant food. They're in varying amounts. The only food that actually lacks an amino acid is gelatin, which is made from beef, like from animal products. It's a construct, but so it's really not that hard to get all the amino acids, and they aren't lacking. We need a kind of mixed diet. Some of the early studies with rats, for example, that were done, just fed them one food. But of course, we humans, they'd feed cheese and see whether wheat was as good type of thing. But we humans eat a mix of things. So it works out very well, actually.
So there's follow-up people saying, I'm not going to stop eating meat. I love my meat. I love the taste. What are you going to tell them from the study that shows protein can be obtained from plants? And does animal protein be harmful to you? Can it be?
Well, actually, the red meats, it turning out, are probable carcinogens, according to the World Health Organization and the American Institute of Cancer Research. So if you want to lower your risk considerably, you can avoid those. I never try and get people, that you have to do this or you really must change. And a lot of our research shows that if people eat just small amounts of these things, just start exploring the world of legumes, beans, peas, lentils, which actually have been part of diets around the world for centuries. And if you just start exploring and find something that you actually like. But I sure don't think people have to go and eat things they hate, that's for sure.
So you're saying, is there any inflammatory effects? Is there any cardiovascular effects? Is there
There,
any uric acid effects? Would
that's
you
right.
like to explain a little bit of that to the audience who was saying,
Well,
no, I need my meat at every cost?
you don't need your meat, but it's an okay option to have some. And I think we're suggesting that you start backing off and exploring the other worlds. You mentioned some very good figures about type 2 diabetes, reduced risk, cardiovascular disease, reduced risk. We also reduce our risk of the hormone related cancers, especially breast cancer, but also prostate a little bit. And we can drop our risk of hypertension by, get this number, 75% by going completely plant based, and drop your risk of cataracts. And that's one that I've been interested in, macular degeneration, cataracts. We find you can drop your risk 40% by going completely plant based. And then we find if you go in that direction, so I'm often talking to people who are just wanting to explore moving a bit in that direction and finding things that really taste good. What am I going to have for lunch? What am I going to have for supper? Type of thing.
What a remarkable journey we've just experienced together. The path to health isn't always straight, but it's always worth the effort. I hope today's conversation inspired you to take the next step in your wellness journey, armed with new knowledge and a fresh perspective. If today's episode left you inspired, share it with people, someone who need to hear this. Give us a thumbs up and your opinion. Keep exploring, keep evolving, and we'll see you in the next episode of Khan Clinics.